Hey guys, Sure Shot Midget here. I got a E&L Mark 18 to do a video on for a high FPS setup. So it's going to be shooting about 400 FPS with .2s. I actually have it set for 3-round burst. It's getting a solid 30 rounds a second though, so the burst is pretty quick. So let's just start from the back or the front. So on the back here, I believe this is one of those Ares M4 stocks, the ones that come on the Elite Force, but they're OEM Ares, because the Elite Force MCR comes with one of these. Pretty cool stock. It's not a crane stock, so it's not got any room on the side. Just the back plate comes off, and then there's an internal piece there. And you just use a stick battery, like a 1300, maybe 1200, even just 1000. You can fit those in there no problem. As far as the body, it's got an ambi sling mount right there, very similar to like Crytek's. The body on here is actually pretty decent. It seems like it's anodized aluminum. It might just be pot metal. Seems to be pretty decent though. There's no markings whatsoever on here, besides the selector safe semi-auto. But other than that, there's no engravings at all. It's a complete blank body. I guess that could leave, you options if you know a place that does laser etching. This is a blank body, so you could do it, I guess. Standard magazine catch, charger handle's missing. On the top we have a pair of KAC sights, front and back. So the optic here is some sort of EOTech. I think this is the XPS or something like that. It's the kind of wider one, and I believe it uses a 18650 battery instead of like AA's or AAA's or whatever the longer ones use. Front here, I think this came as is. It's a Mark 18 rail. It doesn't have any Mad Bull markings, and you can tell the cuts up here are different than the Dander Defense. So it's definitely not a Dander Defense, but I can't remember if this gun came as is with this rail on it. I'm pretty sure though. Forward grip here is one of the KAC styles. There's a quick, or what's that, Magpul. It's obviously a copy. It doesn't got the logo on it, but it's just to hook your sling on. I guess you'd probably use that as a 2-point from here to here. Probably how it'd be done. On the front of the rail, there's some rail covers on the two sides. The top here is a functioning PEC box, but nothing's happening, so I think it needs batteries, because I've switched the modes. It clicks, and if it clicks like that and adjusts, if I'm not mistaken, that means it's supposed to be a functioning one, so it's probably just out of batteries, I would imagine. And that would have a laser and a light on it. Not that bright of a light though. There's the KAC front sight. The barrel on here is, I think it's just 14.5. I don't think it's any longer than that. The flash hider on here is one of the QD suppressor types. It's not quite the AAC style, but it looks pretty similar. The barrel on here actually has some cool markings. I think it says 1-in-7 twist, 5.56 NATO. Pretty cool. No barrel wobble on it. Pretty solid body overall. As far as the internals, it's got a Spectre BTC Mark II, the non-Bluetooth version, wired to the back. There's an ASG Infinity 30K motor, so not one of the boosts, but the CNC Infinities, which are like about $55, so quite expensive. Pretty good motors. It's the 30K version. There's a Retro Arms straight trigger in here. There is an Ares metal rack piston, because the SHS one that was in here broke because the piston head had fallen off and the gear just destroyed it. So I had to replace it with the brand new Ares one that I had laying around. Great metal rack pistons. It's got the Lonex, it has an SHS tappet plate, Lonex cylinder, Lonex aluminum cylinder head. I think the Lonex nozzle as well, but the SHS tappet. I know that because it's the blue one, like the lighter blue. The gear set in here is actually Siege Tech 10-to-1s, so the guy spent a lot of money on those. Very good gears, pretty high speed. Again, we're running a 30K in those 10-to-1s with an 11-1. It was shooting like 34 rounds a second, so I actually delayed it by 5 milliseconds, which equals about 30 rounds a second now, because that's where I wanted it to be. It's kind of high, higher than I expected. So 30 is where it's at on 3-round burst. And again, we're shooting around 400, so it's a higher FPS gun. As far as the gearbox, I am very impressed with the E&L gearboxes. The thing is very robust. It's quick change, spring guide in here. The gearbox shell in the front is very beefed up. For the hop-up setup, it's got a Pro-Win hop-up. I think it's the stock inner barrel. It is brass. I think they're advertised as 603s, which is pretty good for these guns. And it also has a modified flat hop nub and modified flat hop bucking. So it shoots pretty good, about 200 feet, maybe even a little bit past that. We're going to put it through the chrono here. Alright, so I am going to be doing a chrono test here now. So I got .25s in this high cap. So let's go ahead and see what it's getting. 352, 354, 354, 354, 353, 349. That was kind of a drop there. 353, 354, 351, 351. So we're seeing a steady 355, 350 with 2 5s, which on the chrono is 1.45 joules. So that's pretty decent. That's pretty good. Alright, so I cannot remember where I left off on this gun, so I'm just going to go ahead and go over the internals again. So I actually fixed it. It's been a little bit. I had a couple troubles. Basically what was happening is on burst, it had just a weird sound to it. I re-shimmed it multiple times, tried different motors, tried a bunch of different parts, different springs, to see if it was premature engagement, and nothing fixed it until I took it apart this last time to put the AR latch back in it. I even thought it might have been the AR latch because you have to modify the AR latch for the Siege Tech bevel, so I thought maybe it was a weird scraping, whatnot. It wasn't that, so I went to put that back in, and I noticed that when the sector gear comes around and picks up the piston, it looked like it was grabbing one of the teeth on the piston because it has a servo pad in it. So basically I had to chop 2 of the teeth off. One of them was already removed, but it wasn't removed enough. So then I cut the other one completely down as well. So the angle of engagement is perfect like it was before, but the teeth on the sector gear are not hitting the little other teeth, basically. Okay, so this is basically built for trigger response, but it just happens to shoot fast as well. It is cycle completion, so there's almost no pre-cocking to it, and it still has really incredible trigger response. 10-to-1s are just insane for trigger response. In fact, I'm tempted to put 10-to-1s in my DSG instead of my 16-to-1s because the trigger response alone would go up quite a bit, let alone the rate of fire. So let's go ahead and just shoot this a little bit. Also, active braking is on minimum. I think is what I have it, like the lightest setting. And as you can see, the trigger response is just really good. And again, it's hitting pretty hard. It's almost 1.5 joules. 1.45, sorry. With 2 5s, it's just under. It's like 1.43. But it's shooting 200 feet, and it is like pretty laser accurate. Yeah, follow-up shots are no big deal. Let's try some full auto. Feeding's pretty decent. Again, I did have to cut the sector chip, so it's not like full potential. But with high caps, you toss any high cap in here, and you're going to be able to feed no problem. Oh yeah. Yeah, double and triple taps are the easiest thing. Alright guys, so I'm finished shooting this. I know I didn't shoot it quite as much as some of the other guns, at least I don't think, considering I think I only shot like a half a mag on the other video that I might not even include because it did sound bad on the burst or the full auto. Again, I fixed that issue. So yeah, pretty awesome gun, great balance overall, good rate of fire, good trigger response, you know, good range, good consistency. I think he's going to be really happy with it, I really do. This is the 3rd gun that I put together for him in the past couple months. It took me a while to get this one done. The other 2 I had done about a month ago. I did those pretty much right away. that this one just took me quite a while. I've been busy. I worked a couple of other guys' guns in, a couple of friends too. So yeah. But here it is in semi. You can just tell it's incredibly snappy. And again, that's with pretty much no pre-cocking. And then full auto is almost 35 rounds a second. So pretty incredible gun. So if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and let me know in the comments section. And I will see you guys in the next video.